Is there a fundamental solution or goal in your religion? And please describe it in more detail.
Fundamental solution or goal. Well, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we stress the keeping of the Torah, stress the keeping of the law,
Hmm.
and I think it's the solution to the world's problems.
Yeah, me too.
I told my sons one time, I said, if I was the president of the United States, which I could never get elected, I'm too squeaky clean for that job. I think you got to have something going on behind the scenes to get that kind of a job. But if I was elected to be the president, I would implement the 10 Commandments in the nation with their respective statutes and judgments. I would
Hmm.
give the nation a 6 to 12 month grace period whereby I would teach, or they would learn the commandments on television. We'd go over them one by one. But after that 6 to 12 months and that learning, where they'd have the opportunity to go online and learn, this is going to be basically what we would call federal law, the,
Hmm.
the 10 basic laws with their respective statutes and judgments. So when I say judgments, I mean like, you know, stealing would require a payment of double to fivefold,
Hmm.
and it wouldn't be a payment to the government. It would be a payment to the person that you stole from. So
Hmm.
restitution on the Sabbath day. And we might have different groups or different counties or towns um, uh, keeping various days for Sabbath depending on the elders in that community. So you may have elders in one community doing Saturday, you may have one doing Sunday, or one doing the lunar. I wouldn't so much, carry out the death penalty if everybody didn't do the lunar, but I would say that there would be a day a week in the community where everything would shut down.
Yeah.
Or adultery, when a man takes another man's wife, that would be punishable by death.
Hmm.
And I would actually, man, and I know maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyhow. I believe that the punishment should be doled out publicly, so we would televise
Hmm.
the death penalty. Oh, I know that's going to rub somebody the wrong way, but what 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 this would do, I'm not a bloodthirsty man, but what I'm saying is, you the law never works unless you have penalties doled out for people who break the law. It'd be
Hmm.
like, there's a school zone right up the road here where it's when the lights flashing, you got to go 30 miles an hour. It makes sense because there's school buses and kids walking across the street and things like that.
Right.
We're trying to be careful. That makes sense. Okay. Let's say I flew through the school zone doing 100 miles an hour
Hmm.
for no reason. I just, I didn't care. Cop pulls me over and he says, "Sir, you were doing 100 miles an hour in the school zone." And I said, "Yeah, I know. What's it to you? What?" And he said, "Well, I just want to give you a warning. I want to just tell you not to be doing that. Not going to do anything to me." Now, if all of a sudden he says, "Okay, boom, you got to pay a $500 fine or $1,000 fine, or either go to jail," then all of
Hmm.
a sudden that penalty adds some teeth to the law.
Yes.
So it curbs, even in the heart of a wicked man, it curbs evil. That's what the law is for, to even curb evil in the hearts of the wicked. So I would implement that in America if I was the president of the United States, and you would see crime drop as soon as we started to implement it. You'd see crime, boom, it'd go down.
Yeah,
Um,
for
you know,
sure.
so yeah,
Because even in the scriptures, when people would be stoned, it would be a public spectacle. Not a
yes,
spectacle in terms of for entertainment, but
no,
it would be a public event
yes.
for sure. So what you're
Deuteronomy
saying is,
13,
yeah.
all Israel will hear and be afraid and never
Hmm.
more commit that sin. They'll see that that you mean business. And I mean, we still have the death penalty in some states here in America. And even though it's maybe a little bit nicer with the lethal injection, people still realize you can have a crime heinous enough that the penalty has to be that you lose your life. And this goes back to Genesis 9, I think it is. Whosoever sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed,
Yep.
because in the image of Elohim, Elohim made man. So you can't murder somebody and just get a slap on the wrist. You can't do that. And so there's other laws that require the death penalty. Adultery is one of them.
Hmm.
Sabbath breaking was one of them, or blasphemy was another. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, Yahweh's law is the solution. Listen, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, whoever wins, whatever. Yahweh's law is the solution to our country and the rest of the world's problems. Blessed is the nation whose mighty one is Yahweh, the psalm says. And that can go for any nation, not just Israel, but any nation on the earth that decides, hey, we're going to follow the laws that Yahweh gave through Prophet Moshe to Israel. We're going to implement at least the 10 basic commandments, their statutes and judgments. Man, it'd be wonderful. It'd be great.